Second by Reg. Roll call. Roll call.
Oh,
We're good.
That's me. Rick Perry,
Yes.
Reg Carter,
Yes.
Kurt Burbidge.
Yep.
Abby Musiker. Yes. Jim Abdallah.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Amy, you should receive an approval notice from us sometime later this week, and then you'll be able to go to the building permits for the building technician. Thank you.
Okay, item number 2 on our agenda is planning board application number 22-14. 126 Court Street and 17 Wells Street, historic site revisit.
Sorry, guys. Okay. Okay, so the next application is 22-13. It's at 120, the corner lot at 126 Court Street and 17 Wells. The applicant, I apologize. The applicant is David LePage of Behavioral Health Services North. Plan preparer is Aaron Allison of AES Northeast. They are proposing to repair and or replace siding with in-kind cedar siding, to install in-kind replacement vinyl windows, and to install an accessible ramp similar in architectural style to the contributing historic building on the property. Here we have a parcel tax map showing that the property is located here on the corner of Court Street and Wells in red. It is located within this bright yellow section indicating that it is in the Court Street Historic District, and located in the larger pale beige coloring showing that it's in the RH zoning district. Here we have a frontage image showing the property standing from the corner of Wells and Court Street. Here we have an image of the rear of that building standing on Wells. The ramp is proposed to go here. And here we have an image of the 17 Wells property that is also located on the same parcel. Oh, sorry, and another image that was provided by the applicant. Here we have just some cut sheets that were provided by the applicant for the materials. It's Pella vinyl windows. Here it's the cedar siding, excuse me, with the paint colors selected. And the detailing for the rail system. It says Radiance Rail Express in white. The flooring is with stone ash. We did receive a response from SHPO just this afternoon, just a couple hours ago. They have noted that the interior renovations to the Court Street building should be done in a manner that minimizes damage to potentially existing historic finishes. For example, the wood floors or whether plaster or trim. They also have noted that the new basement window units should match the historic units as closely as possible in size, materials, profile, manner of operation, monthly details, setback within the opening, and other visual properties. And that concludes the PowerPoint for that. As for similar applications, the planning board has in the past, most recently, sorry, I forgot the property, most recently approved cedar shingle siding on a recent property, in-kind replacement and repair, maintenance, deferred maintenance. It all is in accordance with the historic preservation guidelines. The in-kind vinyl windows, the board does have a history of a precedent of approving vinyl windows where they are already installed on a building. Most recent for that was 148 US Oval, the Kensington Georgie property. And as for the ramp, the most recent ramp that was similarly reviewed was the accessible ramp that was proposed at the 98 Boynton property, the Dean Schneller property. That one was ultimately not installed because it was deemed unnecessary by the building inspector. But the board had approved it without with the condition that it would be appropriately architecturally sympathetic to the building.
We can open it up to the applicant. For any further presentation.
Yeah, you're welcome to present.
Oh, I don't have anything else to add. I just don't have any questions.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for? the applicant?
We had a few, I'm curious if the use of the building is changing.
No,
Okay,
it's always been owned by, well, not always, but has it. I'm not sure how long ago BHSN purchased it, but they've always used it as a residential property.
Okay.
It's changing, like the type of residential property.
Okay.
It's a crisis center instead of a longer term residential.
okay. Can you describe that a little bit?
I think it's to help, the hospital, with their psychiatric type patients.
Okay.
Like the overflow that they have there, people, I think they expect them to turn around in like a day or two. Get counseling and stuff and then leave. That's how I understand it.
Okay, do you know if it's a significant difference in like the level of care?
No.
Okay.
No, they always had people on site
Mhm.
24/7 with the occupants.
Okay.
For counseling and stuff. I just think before those occupants left and they lived there. So left for their job, came back in the evening.
Okay.
That, whereas these people will stay a little more shorter amounts of time.
Certain offices being replaced with residents, I understand.
An office that's being replaced.
Yeah, I read it. One of the summaries.
Converting an office space to a bedroom in order to improve code compliance and accessibility and energy efficiency.
There's a bedroom that's on the porch that was originally there, or an office, I mean, they're making that into a bedroom.
Okay.
We're just bringing it up to energy code compliance.
Okay.
Yeah, Shippo made a comment about basement windows. And how the basement window should reflect the historic.
Yes, I don't believe those ones actually have been replaced. They might be the original wooden window and not a vinyl window like the rest of them.
Can we look at the slide that shows those?
Yeah, it's helpful to see the photos of
Yeah.
the existing windows.
Yeah.
I think it's a storm. Probably like a double window, like a wooden storm, like a wooden window behind.
It's your intent to replace the storm window with a vinyl.
We could do those, we would do those in wood. Yeah, in pine. Same,
You'll just fix them up.
Yeah, I think Shippo's comment, because in the drawing, it doesn't show those little vertical mutton divisions, and so they wanted to note that the replacement or repair would still retain the same detailing.
yes.
Yeah, okay. I have a question along those lines with the railing as well. Is it the current railing wood, or what is the current railing made of?
Yes, wood.
Okay, and so is the replacement that's specified, I mean, it looks visually quite similar to those little square balusters that are mentioned in the historic
Yes.
document.
It's
Will
a-
it still, it's a composite, will it still be able to have that uninterrupted span between the large posts and kind of, again, retain the same detailing and character of the existing?
I don't believe so. I have to check that. We might have, there might be like more posts, not. all
Yeah.
posts. But for code compliance, that railing is too low. It's not 42 inches, so we have to replace it. Bring it
To
up.
be 2 inches high, but would it need intermediary posts, which would alter
We'll have
the?
a Small baluster, there may be an intermediate post that's a little bigger. 4x4.
Mhm. And so is that a concern to the historic preservation? Like aesthetic? I don't know if that,
Yeah, we. Like, Shanice knows. We like to take a look at previously approved applications. We had one over on Fire Street. Required an application. Policy. That was consistent. Could you give us detail on the designs of the?
These.
yeah, so there would be in
Yeah.
between posts that were
Kinda
like this
depend on,
big,
like,
that these would
Gotcha.
spin.
Building,
Got
how
it.
many
The new
posts are
material,
required,
yeah.
it usually is.
Right.
It's
Not
just
going
like-
all the way up to the roof.
So going back to the first question in terms of use. This home originally was a like permanent home for like the group setting.
Yes, I believe so. I don't, not permanent. Well,
But is now.
Long-termish.
Long term,
Yeah.
but now it's. Being renovated for the use of a short term, like a overflow for the hospital on a 1-2 day. Or less than 30 days stay.
yes, less than 30.
How many people will be in the facility?
What is it? 1 bedroom? 6 bedrooms? 6.
6, and how many are there today?
It's vacant right now. It's been vacant since COVID.
Vacant.
They haven't used it because of COVID.
The whole home.
Yeah.
Has been big. Is that,
Same as well.
is your proposed use been reviewed with the building department in terms of zoning? You know, when I look at the RH district, permitted use is single family residence or home occupation. After those uses, you get into accessory uses or uses by special use. So. In single family, is. Basically means a freestanding detached structure which contains a residence designed for and occupied by one family. So. That seems like something to be. I once again, we get referred for historic review, but we don't always see the background of how much.
I don't know the answer to that. They've owned the property for many years and used it for that same use, as far as I know.
I think, sorry, I think the biggest. Question when it comes into the. Long-term or short-term.
Okay. I can get clarification on that from David too. The actual, that's not mine.
I guess the clarification that I would like to see is the building inspectors. As to whether the proposed use is code compliant or not. Yeah. Typically, we need to review by the building inspector, and then he would go with it to. But I understand the application was directly submitted. For planning review, so. And it's important that we exercise that step in the process.
Okay.
And then there.
I think that'll also give the applicant time to address those comments. Generic, in terms of the amount of information that's available.
Are there any changes happening to the secondary building on Wells?
Yes. It's getting a ramp as well.
Okay.
It was all in the application. Go to this page. We're adding a window on the back side of it.
Adding a window.
To meet code compliance.
Can you describe the ramp?
That one is just coming up the front door straight, right down close to the side. It's gonna be like a low profile ramp, which will be drawing with it in the package. Same railing system. The one on Park Street.
And then just filling in that door. On the side to a window
Yeah.
and then adding a window in the back. We don't have a lot of documentation of that property from a historic, you know,
Concrete.
it's not even mentioned in Chris.
I think it was built at the same time, or was
I
it
don't-
built later to match?
Yeah, I think it could have been a carriage house or something, you know, could
Uh-huh.
have been a
Uh-huh.
accessory building like that.
Yeah.
I have a couple more clarifying questions on the windows. The oval window in the photo, is that just not shown on the drawings? It's not to be removed, is it?
No.
It's
just
not on the
shown.
south elevation, so I was just confirming. Okay.
Mhm.
And then the window that below it that's being replaced, is that stained glass or something? I can't see the detailing very well in the photo, but it looks like it has some sort of muntin pattern. Okay, it's a door, and then the door itself is getting moved over to where the larger window is.
Yes.
Okay. So then is it that the front door is not able to be adapted to be accessible for the ramp? Right,
The same door that's being currently used to bottom.
And
the,
it-
the front door,
It's not the front door. The front door is on,
yeah, around the corner.
right.
Yeah.
The door that is. You know, the window.
Uh-huh.
What the state is trying to do that the main entrance.
Okay,
That's the door that is currently
okay, so what, okay, so what, the old main entrance is not the main entrance,
not.
the,
The front door is also not.
It's like a
Right.
huge historic door.
okay, thank you for clarifying.
In the conversation with the building inspector, I think it's probably important to ask about parking compliance with the proposed site use. So. One part, sidewalk.
So I guess the other question I would have on the proposed ramp for the adjacent structure. That's going towards Wells. Is that an entrance that is
Yeah.
being installed on
On the secondary structure, on
the secondary
the second
structure?
building. Yeah.
And I notice it's 14 feet in dimension, is that? Is that enough space that, you know, you have your landing at the base of the ramp before you get to the sidewalk, or it's a sidewalk? I'm just looking at the survey.
It should be on the site plan.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got 4 feet, roughly 4 feet at the base.
We have to go through public hearing. Public hearing,
I would think we would hold the public hearing until we have all information.
that's.
Have that next month, or the next meeting.
Could we just table this?
That's-
Yeah.
Is there any further questions from the board? Yeah.
I'd like to see the railings represented how they would actually be installed. So you can see like with the intermediary posts, because I feel like that is a significant historical feature that's being replaced and it's not being replaced in kind. So
The elevation.
So the golfs.
the intermediary posts exactly, and how that looks in the elevation and how it-
So with that said, in terms of moving handicap accessibility to this facility. I guess in your comment in terms of review of parking. Is there like proposed handicap parking or? Drop off zones, you know, if this is a more temporary facility. You know, individuals can be dropped off here from the hospital. Or by the hospital. or-
No, it wouldn't be that, by the hospital. I think it's just I'm just speaking in terms of like the patients who don't need to be in the hospital will come to this. But yeah, we can address handicap parking.
I was gonna say, there's nothing. In site plan, there's nothing immediately
Right.
addressed on that. so.
Yeah.
Take a look at that.
Your questions for us?
I was gonna say, if there's no questions from the board.
Yeah.
Do you have any other?
Sorry,
questions?
didn't mean to step on your-
Any other questions for us?
Can we clear Jim on exactly? Somebody been reporting.
I think there's a number of comments that have been reported as we kept a good running list of the requests.
I've kept quite a few of them, yes.
Okay.
And I think we can get the rest, make sure that we have a comprehensive list when we review the reporting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It may be helpful if you're planning to make a motion to table that you, in the discussion section of that motion, restate any specific things that need to be part of that condition.
I think that's where Reg was going, is that maybe if we can get a rundown of.
sure. The comments that I have, that I was taking notes on were, referring back to the building, code enforcement officer to have them, the codes, double check the use, and provide comment on that, as well as comment on parking compliance, whether or not this proposed use, whether or not that's seen as a change in use, and whether or not that use is allowable for this use zone. And then if everything fits within the parking allowance for that zone and that use. Getting additional details on the railings, showing those as a detail drawing, I believe. And then I believe you wanted to also see how the ramp on the Port Street building was going to be displayed. There, you wanted to see a better picture of the window on the east side of the Court Street building, to see whether or not that had historic components to it.
No,
Did you get your question answered?
yeah,
for that?
I got my
Okay,
question answered
okay.
for that one. That's okay.
I think that might be it.
So I'd add in here, handicap parking. that's appropriately reflected on the site. I would add that the applicant address SHPO comments.
Mhm.
So they can update their application. That addresses those comments. for the board.
The requested illustration.
What did you say? Sorry.
The requested illustration of the road system.
Yeah, update the elevation. You had mentioned it.
And then my comment was generally addressed in terms of the ramp that comes off into Wells. If you can just reconfirm that there's appropriate maneuvering and everything at the end of the ramp.
Yep.
That stays on
Before
top.
the sidewalk.
I think that addresses the comments that I heard and understood.
I'm sorry, Jim, just so I capture that correctly, can you restate what you just said about the ramp on Wells?
Oh, that when the newly constructed ramp coming to Wells has the appropriate maneuvering. Any kind of maneuvering space at the landing, you know, especially by the time you put in the appropriate handrail extensions beyond. Not that you're not in the right of way, sidewalk.
And this is for the building that fronts Wells.
Fronts well, yes.
And you're
Since they're
seeking them to
perpendicular
confirm that,
to the
not
side.
something from Joe.
What's that?
You're seeking them to confirm that, not something from Joe.
That's probably for something for them to work with Joe on. To make sure that they're. Achieving the appropriate layout. If there's no further comment or questions, do I have a motion? Someone on the board to table the application?
I'll make Yeah, I'll make a motion to table. Application 2214, 126 Court Street and 17 Wells for clarity of. Pending resolution to the questions. Outlined. You want me to list them in the motion?
Pending the questions. that
Pending
was just
resolution
restated.
of the list of questions.
The list of questions that was just restated.
Yeah, I can list them as I heard them, but I'll get them wrong and they'll need to be listed again.
Are you guys good?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Do we have a second? Second, by Rick. Roll call.
Reg Carter,
Yes.
Kurt Burbidge.
Yes.
Abby Musiher,
Yes.
Jim Adela,
Yes.
Rick Perry.
Yes.
Thank you
So
very
you should,
much.
Thank you.
you should receive a notice in the next couple of days of what was requested of you.
Okay.
You'll want to begin coordinating with the building inspector. Typically our deadline, I think for next month would be coming up this Friday, but we can give a 1 week extension to anybody that's a returning applicant. So it should be next Friday. So if you're able to resolve it all by next Friday, we can still get you on the next month's agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Question should be some kind of a thought, but the historic district map. Can you put that up? There's a blue.
Oh, yes.
I know it's a service alley. But I'm kind of curious, it's not, it's not in the historic district, where is it in the adjacent? That one.
I don't have the zoning map up to tell me what that zoning district is zoned. But that's a very interesting little one district. there.
Well,
Sorry.
I asked the question for a specific reason, because if you are substantially contiguous to a historic district, you should also be complying with, according to the regulations, to the standards of the historic district, and that would impact a lot of property.
Yeah.
Just curiosity.
Good question.
The other service. It could be. Sorry.
It's okay.
Did we have any other business?
The only other business, again, was to introduce Alicia, which we accomplished, I think, in the pre-meeting. And the only other thing that's an update that I thought of was that we did have the draft comp plan meeting on August 1st. The public response was positive. So we are working on just a couple of minor edits and then that should be ready to go to a final stage for the public to review again.
Do you know a timeline? for that?
No.
Okay, that's great.
This fall, definitely this fall, but.
Okay. Oh,
Do we, does the department have any updates on the second alternate for the board?
No updates. We've advertised. We've received no applications or response.
He's the first. and the second. Yes. Okay, so that's still an open.
Yep, we
Sure.
still have an open seat for the second alternate. Yes, and we're still seeking that. I'll touch base with Courtney to push out another notice on that.
what does our ward distribution look like now?
We still don't have anybody from Ward 1 or 2. We have Ward 6. We have Ward 5. We have, I think,
4.
2, or we have 2 from Ward 3. I'm sorry, 2 from Ward 4, 2 from Ward 5, and 1 from Ward 3.
Okay, so 1 and 2.
Good. If there's no other business, motion to adjourn.
Second.
I think all there.
Aye.
Thank you.